and welcome to my channel. Thank you for tuning in. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day, has had their coffee if they love coffee, and has also drank some water because we gotta have water. Hello. In today's episode, we are going to go into Sinner's Refuge and check that little cave out and see what we find. It's going to be a short episode, so while we're working on things, I want to talk about one of my favorite characters of the game. We're talking about Razma of Shem. So when you start the game up, there is an intro cinematic, and that cinematic shows a woman who is tied to a crucifix and is then rescued by Conan. This woman's name is Razma. Once she's rescued by Conan, she's given the option to take up arms and fight for her life, or lay down and die to be eaten by the vultures. She chooses to live, and we progress in the game and follow her story as we explore the map. What? Okay, well, we lost that one. Oh, they saw me. Did they all see me? Just that one? Ooh, I can take one. Oh, what? Was it? Okay. In her first journal entry, she speaks of once being of royal blood, a daughter of princes, and she named her assailants cowards for leaving her to rot rather than killing her after her father passed away. She discovers other exiles and shames them for lighting fires, which could attract unwanted attention. So her father must have been a pretty heavy influence in her life, since she speaks of his teachings, but is now left alone in this world without him. When she tries to cross the river, she's captured by Darfari and thrown into a cage. She sees a few different kinds of people, such as a Stygian bounty hunter who speaks of a city in the north, as well as someone dressed like a pirate, giving her an impression that there may be an ocean nearby. Woo! Ooh, that scared me. Wow! Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to dive, duck, dip, and dodge. She notices the brutal practices of these people and how much worse they are than any other devotees she's ever seen. She befriends this Stygian, and they work to escape, and she realizes that she's going to have to make friends with these other exiles if she wants to survive. So her Stygian friend, who went by the name of Jakad, flees with her from the Darfari camp, and they stumble upon an abandoned fighting pit called the Arena. There's these giant tombstones that are on either sides of the entrance of this place that light up, and their bracelets flare as soon as they get close enough. Razma faints, consumed by an internal voice and visions from the past. These visions are of the God Kings and their first encounters with humans who came to them as refugees. She watched time pass and the God Kings harden, birthing the green borders and enslaving the humans, bonding them with the bracelets. This entry leads us to believe there's far more to the story, and Razma feels the same. As she crosses the lands, journeying west with Jakad, she finds a band of landlocked pirates called the Black Hand. They built a ship out of stone in the middle of a canyon in the desert. They claim to want to escape these lands just like she and Jakad, but they ramble on and on about hidden maps and secret treasures and don't seem that serious. Razma and Jakad, they continue west in search of his great city. Sadly, during their journey, Jakad is devoured by a winged demon. She watches him get carried away off into the stars, and her only companion is now gone. She's looking over some ruins, and she seems to see more of what's happened to these lands years ago. More internal voices speak of everything that has happened. She's fighting with her identity and struggling with isolation. Oh. Uh-oh. Oh gosh! Strange people dressed in hyena furs end up finding her in an incapacitated state and take her back to their camp. They're called Dogs of the Desert, and she watches them, noting how they were hardly human as they prowled around, nothing like what she saw growing up on the streets of Asgulon, which was a hint that her upbringing wasn't as royal as we may have thought. While they were absorbed in some sort of bloodbath ritual, Razma slips away to continue west to find Jakad's people. she finally arrives into the city of Supermaru and is taken in by the Shemites, who recognized her companion. She finally gets to settle and relax and is told stories of brutal purges and great sandstorms that swept the desert. And she tells them of her visions, of the ruins where there may be answers and gems to finally set them free. They eventually set an expedition with Razma at the helm, charting her last journal entry, hoping to never meet again in these brutal and unforgiving lands. Alright everyone, that does it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it and found it a little bit useful, a little bit entertaining. In episode 4, I plan to move our base. I want to move it north. I'm not quite sure where yet, but whenever we start episode 4, I'll probably have it moved. It'll be a normal episode, just like episode 2. Take care of yourself and remember that you matter. We'll see you next time.